Okay, so we're live. Awesome, guys. So anyway, guys, welcome tonight. This will be part 2 for the CCNA Security. If you guys missed part 1, I uploaded that to the Meetup YouTube channel, so you guys be able to take a look at that. I also, if you guys haven't seen, I sent out a couple emails this week about some of the stuff that I wasn't able to cover in part 1. So if you guys can get over to the to our Cisco Networkers Meetup page. As you guys know, we got all our upcoming meetups coming up here. So all the up-to-date information is here. So if you guys can, definitely check it out every once in a while. But for the YouTube page, I don't know why Meetup.com doesn't make it easier for us, but I try to put it in here, but it comes out really small. If you guys can see down by where it says our calendar, if you click on this guy, it'll take you to our YouTube page. And that's where I have all the videos that I posted up recently, and also the CCNA Security Part 1. So that's on there, which is pretty helpful in case you guys missed a couple things during the meetup, or you just want to take a look at it again. One thing I would definitely recommend, and for not just my videos, but anybody's videos, like I know Router Gods has some really good detailed videos. You can get like one of those YouTube download programs. I use this one. YTD Basic. It's really easy to use. All you gotta do is, like, let's say I go to I want to see my video on how to make an ASA 5505 work. Copy, pop it in here, and hit download, and it'll download the video for you. So I'm sure you can think of other creative ways to get your videos from YouTube or whatever, but it's pretty nice because what you can do now is once you download it, you're actually able to play it 2 times fast or 1.5 times fast. So if you guys are in a rush or just want to quickly skim through a video, that's what I would definitely do. And like I said, anybody's videos, not just mine's. So also before I start here for tonight, as always, my quick 15-second introduction, a little about myself. For you guys who have been here a couple times, you've probably seen this 1,000 times. You could probably recite it by heart, but this is actually invalid. This is here tonight. Our upcoming meetups. We actually have one for tomorrow. Charles, one of the members from the meetup group, volunteered to have to host a CCNP study group, which we'll be having tomorrow at 12:45 by Bryant Park. There's a Starbucks in the area. He'll be there, and along with the co-organizer Jose, he'll be there as well. So you guys can check that out. Also, my contact info here. Strongly encourage you guys. I got my phone number here. Text is the best way if you do text me, and if you do, definitely please let me know who you are, because I get like all these texts and people asking me questions, and then I don't even know who the person is, and it's kind of weird. It's like, who is this anyway? So there's my Skype name, Will Zambrano, William.Zambrano10577, and my email. And one thing I did mention during the first part. Cisco Networkers, the meetup group here, we actually have, I guess you say like a little deal or offer from Pearson VUE, the guys who make the Cisco Pressbooks. So here's some discount codes that you can use to save some money on printed books or ebooks. So that's kind of helpful to have. So anyhow, so let me jump down to where we left off with part 1. And by the way, guys, if anybody here during the meetup today, feel free to pop on your mics or type in the chat window. If you guys want to do like a point-to-point tunnel, I mean, I know that we went through this last week. If you guys yourselves at home have a 5505 and you want to do a point-to-point with, my 5505 here, as for practice, I mean, there's never enough practice until like you pretty much recite it by heart. So especially if you guys are learning this for the first time, the more practice you have, the better. It's no different than anything else in the world out there. The more practice, repetitions, mellow learning. So, but we went through this already, so I'm gonna skip through that. What I want to focus on, the 2 points here for tonight, was actually I want to revisit our, and let me bring this guy up here. So if he comes out, here we go. I wanted to revisit a little bit the AAA server examples that I had the other day or last week. Reason being is because when I did it last week, it was kind of botched. I was like switching between different VM net NICs and whatnot, and I found a cleaner way to actually get it working. So if you guys do want to actually demo this out on your own, on your own time at home, I found a easier way that you can kind of get it working. So this way you can have your ACS server and your RADIUS server working all at the same time, and you won't lose access to the ACS server, which is pretty nice. So we'll see that in a second. But also, I want to demo out to you guys today, not just using the wizard. If you guys actually have at work, or if you guys have at work or your own 5505, I mean, this is my own personal 5505 at home. William Firewall. I actually upgraded to version 9.1, and you can see here the device type is a 5505. I'm actually slightly regretting getting the 5510 because I was actually playing a lot with the AnyConnect VPN, the IPsec VPN, and the SSL Clientless VPN. You could do everything on the 5505 here. There's not that much of a difference from that, except that the 5510 will cost you maybe like $500 more, I think, or $400 more. So it is kind of on the pricey side, but it's good. Everything that I'm going to demo out for you guys here tonight, you can do if you actually have one of these boxes at home. So, but anyway, I just wanted to let's jump straight into it then. So, next thing I want to mention with a couple of the common ASA tasks that you'll do on a day-to-day work when you're working with ASAs is, number one, I mean, every job interview I've been on always asks you how to set up a point-to-point tunnel. If you can, and I think I have it. Do I have it here somewhere? Here we go. I mean, you can look on YouTube. You could look at the CCNA Cisco Pressbook. They go through it pretty well. You can even look through it through the video that I made and posted on YouTube earlier this week. But try to memorize that process as much as possible. Try to do the repetition as much as you can because it's, as I mentioned, one of the very common tasks that you do as an engineer is try and bring up these tunnels. So I did demo that out earlier. So as I mentioned, I'm not going to do that. But another common task that you would run into, depending on what kind of environment that you're in, is setting up a clientless SSL VPN setup. Also setting up a Cisco AnyConnect VPN setup. And there's also a way that we could also use certificates from a certificate authority, a CA. I didn't get a chance to fully this week to set up the Windows 2008 box for a certificate authority. There are two ways that you can get certificates, and I'm not going to go too much into the details of what certs are because it's pretty long and dry, and you can pretty much read it in the Cisco Pressbook. They go through a pretty good job of explaining exactly what that is. But one thing that at least I know personally for the company that I'm working for right now, that they actually use a Windows box. So if I sign into this guy here, and it could be a 2003, 2000, whatever original flavor of Windows. I'm going to jump into my roles, and here you can see I have my Active Directory certificate services. So for my part 3, I'm going to try to figure out a way that I could, and there is definitely a way that we could do this. So I will put this together for a part 3, probably not this month, probably more towards the beginning of December. I got some scheduling conflicts, and I still want to get the meetups going, but I'll probably get that in a couple weeks. But one thing I want to do, as I mentioned, was set up the clientless SSL VPN setup. Now the only thing is, 9 times out of 10 when you walk into an environment, chances are this is already in place. So a lot of the stuff you may be doing is just either troubleshooting, or when it comes time to set up or roll out a new 5505. I mean, reason being that a lot of the time these smaller devices, the 5505s, generally go to somebody's home. Generally will go to maybe, let's say, like an executive's house, or there's like a consultant or something, or there's a small office and you'll deploy these guys. Or you get the teleworkers who will use this. Now, has anyone actually here worked with the clientless SSL VPNs before? Or set one up before? Yeah, okay, Eddie, perfect. All right. Have you actually set it from scratch, or have you just was it already in place when you walked into the shop? Inherited. Okay. All right. Nice. All right. So some of this stuff might be a little bit of review. Maybe you can throw in here some real world scenarios or changes that I'm going to show you here. But there's actually two ways that we can do this, and actually there's for these three. Actually, even that, no, not this one. These three tasks that we have here in the ASA 5505, and I think even I'm pretty sure the 10 has this as well. You can click on the top once you get into the ASDM and sign in, and you can go to Wizards, VPN Wizards, and then you pretty much have all the choices here to have like a nice little fancy wizard to walk you through the setup. So Clientless SSL VPN, it could walk you through it. I'm not going to do it this way because it's too easy. It's pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not going to go through this way. Same thing for our AnyConnect VPN. AnyConnect VPN is, I mean, they give you the steps here, but very, very similar. But I kind of want to go through the individual pieces step by step. And then any questions or anything you guys seen in the field that maybe we can try here, and we can try out here. We can actually do, because this is just a production a lab 5505 anyway. Also, one good thing too, guys, if you guys have I mean, who doesn't have mobile phones now? But people who have guys who have the mobile phones, you could also on your phone download the Cisco AnyConnect VPN software. So unless you're using it for work, you may or may not have it. But and I have an Android, so I'll go. Let me bring up the Android page. What do they call it? Google Store, or the Play Store for Google. They call it the Samsung AnyConnect, but this is really the Cisco AnyConnect. So tonight, what I want to get working is from your phones. We'll go ahead and set up a user account on the ASA. Load up this client on your phone, and even if you guys have an iPhone, it's on the iPhone too. You can type in the Cisco AnyConnect, and it'll probably be one of the first hits that pop up. So this is a way that you can actually use AnyConnect from your phone, from your PC, get into the basically VPN into your corporate environment. And even if you guys have at home your machine, I actually haven't tested out from a different machine, so it'll actually be nice if you guys can test out the AnyConnect VPN from your PC and see if you guys stay connected. And if not, maybe we can do a little troubleshooting. But first, let's go ahead and start with this Clientless SSL VPN setup. So, all right, so there's three main steps to get a Clientless SSL VPN up. Looks a little bit complicated at first, but it's not too hard once you do it for a few times. So first up is you want to go ahead and define a new group policy, or they call it group policies, but it's a bad habit from the Windows world, so I call it the group policy. So first, what you want to do once you're in the home screen of your ASA, go ahead into configure. You want to click on the remote access VPN, and you can go ahead and try to use the wizard, but I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to click on this section here that says Clientless SSL VPN. And in here, you'll see that little section here called Group Policies. So out of the box, I've made a couple here already, but we can make some more. Out of the box, you should get one that's called Default Group Policy that you can't delete. You can see here that this little thing is grayed out. So with this, we actually can't get rid of this. This is like the from my understanding. I'm not a CCNP security yet, so I can't speak at that high of a level yet. But this is one of the I forget if it's either the first or the last policy that gets applied. It's almost like when you go in Windows and then you have multiple layers of groups applied to your user account. So let's say if Windows is pretty popular, so I'm sure maybe some people might get this a little analogy here. But if I jump into my users OU, go to my William account, and then go to member of, so you can see that I'm actually a part of a bunch of different groups here. So all these are default, but admins, domain admins, and users. So I actually inherited a couple of the rights that are associated with these groups. So this is a group, domains admins is a group, which you can kind of see on this side here, they're a group. So I can put certain rights and restrictions on these groups. I can even make up my own group if I wanted to. You can go to new and then group. So in the same way, we have groups in the ASA that do this for us. So I can actually edit this guy. And there's a bunch of, when you first look at this, it's like, holy crap, there's like a ton of options. I don't know what to click on. But if you just read it one by one, it starts making a lot of sense. So let me not even touch that guy right now. Let me go through the, we'll say Meetup users, because this will be my group policy for my Meetup users. I can edit this guy. So let's look at an existing one that's actually working. So, and even if you guys want to, you could even actually go to this right now in your browsers. So if I go to HTTPS, what's 108? Let me get my IP here. If you want to get your IP, you can go to config, device setup, and then click on interfaces. You want to go to your outside interface or whatever your public IP is coming in. In my case, as I showed you guys in the video earlier, I actually have a DHCP setup on mine. But if you have a public IP, this will not be set to DHCP. You'll actually have an IP here. So what you can do is you pop it into your browser. So I'll do 46.177.5. And that should give me something. Oh, you know what? I'm in the inside. It's not going to work for me. But if you guys actually go to this on your browsers, you should get a login page. So let me copy and paste it into the chat there. But you know what? Let me log into a different machine that's outside of my network, so I can show you guys how that looks like. Okay, so besides saying that there's a login page, that's great. All right. Okay, so I did a log me in session to my work machine actually. So here you can see that you get a little prompt saying that this certificate is not trusted. The reason you're actually getting this, I mean, you can just click on continue to website and then you'll get the login page. But the reason you're actually getting this is because, and I can give you guys a little bit of a background on why we get this. I'm not gonna go in too deep, but reason is because the self-signed certificate that I have on my ASA here is not trusted. So every browser, and it actually comes out a little bit nicer on Windows, but I don't know, somewhere in Firefox, I think you can, somewhere in Firefox here you can do the same. I don't know if it's in certificates. Okay, there we go, use certificates. So you can see here the your certificates. I'm assuming the certificates that I've added here in the past. You can import one if you like. Others. So actually, this is funny enough. Others, you have certificates on the file that do not fit any of the categories. So this 192.168.10.1. This is actually my, and if you can see up here, this is my ASA's inside address. So that's been added as a, oh, where to go? That's been added as a certificate on this browser. So I basically manually put that in there. I got this again. I put that certificate into, or the ASA certificate into the Firefox browser, saying that go ahead and proceed. Same thing here with my ACS server, which, but anyway, in every browser has this basically. And the reason that you got this message was saying that this browser, at least in my work PC, didn't have the certificate for this ASA, and it's not flagged as trusted. All the browsers nowadays have like these top domains. If you go into Windows, and I think even if I go back to my service here, so here's a GoDaddy. Everybody knows who GoDaddy is. They're pretty very I guess you could say like trusted. Cisco's trusted. I mean, these are sites that I've gone to in the past. Equifax, Entrust, GTE, Synology. But there should be another one here that. Oh, here you go. Authorities. That's what I wanted. So if you go through the authorities, these are like as the name implies, these are the certificates that are checked out by these companies. So you have A-Trust here. What else you got here? America Online. I'm surprised they're still around. I haven't heard from them in a while. Who else we have here? CertSign, China Information Network, ComSign. So if you go down this list, like Dell, CyberTrust, I mean, some of these companies you probably, if you go down the list, kind of seem familiar to you. These are a lot of they call these top level authorities. So if I wanted to get rid of that message, the easiest thing I could do is if I hit, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. If I hit view certificates, so you can see here that this was actually issued to, it says ASA temporary. I didn't hard code one yet, but this is saying here this is ASA temporary self-signed certificate. So this is basically me saying that, you know what, I just made one up on my own. Like, I didn't give it to GoDaddy, I didn't give it to VeriSign, I didn't give it to anybody. But sometimes you can go in here and you can actually hit here, issues like install certificate. So this way you don't get that prompt anymore. So you can either install it on your PC one by one, but isn't realistic because you can't have, it's unrealistic for you to tell every single person in the world to accept your certificate. So what people do usually, let's say like GoDaddy.com. So you can actually go in here and buy a domain name. And depending on the price, I mean, whatever you want to get, I mean, it varies in price, whatever domain name you want to get, and they'll actually give you a certificate. And then you can actually add it to your ASA. So this way, once you actually go into a prompt like this, like for example, I want to go to my ASA and I got this little error, that certificate will actually be tied to GoDaddy. And according to this browser, and I can even pull up for IE. Where do you see that in IE? I think certificates. Here we go. So you got trusted root certificate authorities. So if I want to go to GoDaddy, and there he is, GoDaddy is linked or has been activated on this browser saying that I trust GoDaddy. So pretty much whoever comes from GoDaddy, I trust as well. So that's like you meet a friend and he brings somebody for the first time, and then you don't know who this guy is, but because you trust your friend, and then your friend said that, you know what, this guy's cool, I like him, don't worry, like he's good with us. So you by default trust him as well. So you can kind of think of it that way. So this way you don't get this little error message anymore, and then people go ahead and you'll go straight into the page without being prompted. So that's kind of like the short summary of what the certificates are. But if you go ahead in here, and you actually have two choices here when you first sign in. Now, what you could also do, which I didn't even tell you, but if you specifically say Meetup, so you put in that IP address 108.177.5/Meetup, you're going to notice that you actually don't get that dropdown. That's because this is the URL that I specified for people to jump into the SSL client VPN. So if you go ahead and pop in, and I'll put it in the chat here, Meetup user for the username, and then for the password test123, you should be able to log into that session here. So if I go ahead and do that on the same here, and I think I have a restriction of 5 people, but I'm not positive. Let's check. So Meetup user, test123, capital T, and then didn't let me in. Let me try that again. Meetup user, test 1, 2, 3. And I got welcome to Cisco Networkers. Hit continue. And I'm in. Let's see what, okay, great. Nice. So this is a pretty, and for the guys who are watching the video, this is a very bare bones setup. I don't really have too much going on here. I just have here some plugins on the left that I'll explain to in a bit, how you can put these plugins into your ASA. I have actually some bookmarks here. So instead of somebody going to this little drop down bar and typing in RDP and then typing in, I mean, you can put the host name in here, but because I don't have a DNS server, I just put the IP in here. But what you guys can do actually is, if you guys see that Windows XP box, it says click here to RDP to Windows. Username is Meetup, user, password is test123. If you go ahead and click on that guy, and it says you're starting to have a remote connection, go ahead and hit connect. And I don't know, you guys can actually tell me about this, but I couldn't get it fully working at this point. What I had to do is click on the top left. It says reconnect with Java client. When I click on that, it'll open up a new window, as you guys can see. I get that certificate warning again because, once again, I didn't register my ASA certificate with any authority. I just made it my own. And saying I don't know what this is. I accept and I want to run this application. Hit run. And then you guys should see a prompt for a Windows XP box. And it'll be the same thing. Meetup user test 1, 2, 3. And then I'm in a server, or I mean, in this case it's an XP box, but I mean this could very well be a server. Could be a Linux box. It could be an Exchange server. It could be whatever you want to do. Nice thing with this pros is, as you guys just saw, I just gave you guys, hey, go to this website. Here's the username. Here's the password, and jump into basically jump into the server. You know. On my part, is me as an administrator, there's very little overhead. I don't have to install anything on your machine, so you guys can be on a public machine, and as long as you can, I guess, hit accept and you have the right credentials, you can get into any server. But it's almost like a sandbox, so this way it keeps it pretty secure for me. You're kind of working, you know, in a sandbox, and nothing's being put onto your box, pretty much. So that's a plus for me. So, and of course, if you guys, I think maybe a lot of people signed in, but my session got killed here. But you can go to the top right and say log out. I mean, at least for me, I want to log out. It says goodbye. I just logged out. I can jump back into Meetup again. I'll do test 1, 2, 3 again. Welcome to Cisco Networkers. Okay. And you can also go in here as well. You can click on terminal servers. You can type in here the actual IP of that box if you want to. So let's, I mean, right now I only have one. I only have one box here that we can actually test into. But if you guys knew what the IP was, I could have you guys manually click browse. You could actually manually type in what server you want to remote into. On the top right, I'll click on the little house to go back to the home page. I can VNC if you want to go into, let's say, like a Linux machine or something. I can do SSH. I can SSH or telnet into a machine if I wanted to. So, I mean, it's pretty nice. I mean, there's a bunch of different options here that you can do to make it a little user-friendly for teleworkers. So, one of the ways that we could do to set this up, though, is, and like I said, we'll go to configure. And as I mentioned before, you can do the wizards. You can click on the Clientless SSL VPN, but we're not going to do that. So first things first is what we want to do is define a group policy or a new group policy. So I'm going to go to configure remote access VPN. Make sure you go under Clientless SSL VPN access because there's actually 2 of them. There's one here as well. I mean, technically you can create one here too because it's, as you notice here, it's the same. The same policies are in the 2 different sections. They're interconnected, but just so that you guys don't get confused, you can just do that right under the clientless section. So we can actually create a new one. So I'll hit add to create a new one. And what do I call this? I'll call this Meetup test. We'll call it. You want to hit more options because, of course, we're more than administrators. We want to actually get into the inner workings of this. We don't go under the hood of this, so let's click on the more options. Any plus signs, just hit the minus sign. I want to see the details and the guts of this. And whenever you see this little inherits, so if you guys notice here, I see a bunch of inherits. What this means is actually inheriting it from the, and I believe this means that it's inheriting it from the default policy. So if I go down here to my default group policy that I can't delete, notice that nothing is being shown here as inherited. Everything's already pre-filled in here for you. Reason being is because if I don't, let's say if we go back to add, I'll call this Meetup test again. If I say inherit, that's basically saying, you know what, I don't care, whatever my higher level group policy or my default group policy is, just pull it from there. So it's almost like a way that you can make a template. Like I could make a lot of different group policies and then just say, you know what, this is the master copy, whatever, I'm going to create it once and then just inherit it from my default group policy. So this way I don't have to like do it one by one, go through each and every single one of these little fields. It's supposed to be a way to make it a little bit easier for you. So that's a good thing. The bad thing though is that it tends to make things a little bit complicated when it comes time for troubleshooting. Because sometimes it may look like in one group policy, or at least the group policy that you defined, everything looks okay, but it may be because it's being inherited by another policy. So that's one thing to definitely keep in mind. But in my case, let's go back to add. We'll do this Meetup test. We'll blow this out, and we'll give it a banner. We'll say, this is for testing only or something. I don't know. So hopefully you guys have an ASA at home that you guys can play with this right now. It'll make things a lot more easier in terms of learning. But so here I can say something about like the access hours. So let's say we're just testing for the weekend. You know, we don't want people to get in this into this group policy, you know, on Monday. So let's say like we're here, what we're doing this weekend, we came into work and we had to go ahead and, you know, test like a new policy or something. So as you can see from the pull down, you can actually say unrestricted, but you have certain options here. I mean, I already have one called Meetup hours, but I can say unrestricted, meaning that there's no restriction to the hours. Anybody can jump into this anytime. So, but in my case, I'm going to go ahead and let's make a new one. So we'll click on manage. I'll drag this around. I have one called Meetup hours. So actually the profile that I set up for you guys is going to die November 9th. So anybody watching the video after November 9th, you got that profile will no longer be good, basically. But I can create a new one. We'll call this access hours test. And you can specify the start time, the end time. So here I can say start now, and you can say never end. Or I can say, you know what, end, today's the 8th, end tonight at, and this is military time. Let's say tonight at, I think this is 11:30. 11:30, end tonight. Oh, and I can't put spaces. I gotta actually put no spaces here. Oh. Okay, so I can hit OK with that. And then you can now pull and put in there test for the hours. Another thing you can do here is the simultaneous logins. So here what you can do is, instead of inheriting that, by default, up to 3 people can sign in at a time to that profile, but I can say in either inherit the 3, or I can say, you know what, 100 people can sign in. 50 people can sign in. Whatever you want to put in there, and or whatever the max that your hardware can take. It's unrealistic for you to have a small ASA 5505 and having like 500,000 people trying to sign in. I mean, config wise, it looks like it'll work. Only issue is that your CPU will probably spike and you'll probably kill your ASA. But that's another option that you can do. Maximum connect time is pretty nice to do. So you can say after, let's say, I don't know, 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, I'll kick you off that SSL VPN. So I can put that in there. Web ACL, this is nice too. I mean, by default, there's none, but you can actually make one. So this is good to say that you can restrict what people can do once they're logged into the SSL VPN. So I can say add. And actually, take a look at the one I have right here. So I'm allowing you guys, when you guys sign in, I'm allowing you guys to actually jump into that Windows XP box, which is this IP here. Notice this is an ACL. So if, let's say I had another server here, let's say I had a 192.168.10.100, because I don't have it defined in here, you guys wouldn't be able to get in under this group policy profile. So that's another thing to keep in mind too when it comes time for troubleshooting, is make sure that, first make sure that the right rights are being applied. Number 2, go into your access list if you have one applied to the profile or to the group policy, and make sure that you're allowing, and this is just an access list. I mean, we can edit this guy as I had before. I can add another entry. If you guys have nothing here, you guys want to click on add ACL or access list or an entry, access list entry. And I can say deny, let me do permit. And then you can specify the protocol. So let's say I want you guys to SSH to, I mean, unfortunately I don't have anything else I can show you guys to test, but let's say I had another server at 10.100, and you can get more granular here too, but so it'll say I'm also allowing you to SSH to 10.100. So you can have that stuff in there as well. And then once you add it, you're going to want to make sure you select that. So let me go to manage. Oh, yeah, that's part of that same ACL. If I'll make a new ACL, you do add ACL. And I'm just going to carry the same syntax so I know what to remove later on. I can do meetup_test. We'll add one. Or even better, let's add nothing. So once you guys are authenticated, I want one, at least one. So we'll add like a bogus entry. We'll say permit Citrix, because I don't have anything Citrix. Hit OK. And then I want to apply that meetup test ACL. Okay, so as I mentioned, guys, a lot of this is self-explanatory. Tonight I'm seeing here about 8-9 people, so let's put 15. Yeah, let's do 10. Maximum of 10 people can log in here tonight. Yeah, I'll do 15. This is also nice here, restricted VLAN. So if I had multiple interfaces, yeah, Josh, I was wondering where the hell you were, man. I was like, this guy attends everything. But yeah, so you could actually restrict per VLAN interface. So normal productions, you may have, I mean, you always have an inside or outside. Yeah, I know. Joshua just got a brand new 3800 series router, so he, don't worry, man. I was the same way with the 5510. Don't worry. So, yeah, so if you had, yeah, Dana, no, us Cisco guys, I think anytime we get a new toy in the mail, we get really excited, and basically that whole night is done. Like we just sit there and play all day with whatever we got in the mail. So if you had more interfaces here, so let's say I had a third interface. I mean, and you see here 1 and 2. Let me just hit OK. Let me go back to device setup interface. You can see I have my 2 interfaces here. If I added another one, we'll put, I'm not using 7, so we'll put 7. Yeah, that's fine. Interface name DMZ. We'll put 50. That's the most common. I think I need to give him an IP address. No, I don't. Okay, good. No, I don't want to apply that just yet. Well, let me go back. I don't want to. Okay, well, forget that. Okay, well, it's forcing me to save my changes, okay? So we'll do 50. I didn't want to do that because if I jump to here and I hit apply, it's going to apply everything that we just did, including the group policy. So this is nice too. This comes from, if you guys remember the old SDM GUI for the routers, that horrible thing that never works because Java constantly breaks. This is nice to have. So when you guys do stuff in the GUI, and I came from like the school of thought that I hate the GUI sucks. I want, you know what, in the routers, yes, that does apply. But I find with the ASA, the GUI is so nice. Like it makes things so much more easier to configure and that much faster to configure. Yeah, good for steps in change control. Yeah, that is. I mean, that as well too. I mean, it's. I mean, the more I'm working with these ASAs, the more that I'm finding, the GUI does actually help a lot. But I mean, as you guys get into the config, I mean, I'll show you guys the bookmarks and the plugins. It gets a little complicated, the config. But nonetheless, I mean, I definitely want to go through this with you right now. So basically, I'm just putting VLAN 22 for switch for interface 7. This I think just picked it out of the blue because I didn't assign one. So let me go in here. Why am I saying VLAN 22? Just make one? Let me do this again. Hold on. Delete. DMZ 50. Here we go. VLAN ID. Yeah. Okay. So we'll do. I'll call this 3 because I want to go number order. I'll do apply. Okay. So here we go. It looks like I just picked 22 out of the blue. That's something else the GUI is good in doing. It kind of holds your hand when you're doing the configuration. So if you're going fast or if you're not sure what you're doing, it'll put stuff in there for you, which is sometimes a good thing, but sometimes a bad thing because when it comes time to look at the show run, you don't know. You're wondering, did you put that in or did the GUI put that in? So anyway, so we got here 07. This is going to be my test port. Putting that in VLAN 3. I don't have an IP address assigned to it, but I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to give the security level 50. And this is the part. So this part is pretty basic. If you guys took a look at the videos from last week or from this week, this stuff is kind of self-explanatory. This stuff is a little new, so let's go over that real quick. Time range. So this is basically saying that range of, I said that up until 12:30 or 11:30 tonight, November 8th, this profile will be in effect. So after that time, nobody can get into it because I just put in here block everybody out after that time range, which is really similar to Windows. And I can't believe I actually remember this back from the Windows days, but you can click on a user, and then you can click on account and login hours, and then you could actually set here like arrange when this person can sign in. I've never seen this used in the field ever. I've been in plenty of shops, and I don't know, maybe for like a contract or something might be helpful. But so if you guys know Active Directory, it helps a lot to work with. I see a lot of parallels with Active Directory and the ASA. But so that's that. Access list. So here's the access list that we put in there, that Meetup test. saying that permit. I mean, but if you look at this out of the box, it looks very similar to your when you're doing your router ACLs. You're saying access list, the name of your access list, the type, and web type. I'm going to permit URL because I put in here URL, Citrix, and I'm going to go ahead and log that. So I mean, there's extra fluff here, like default. When you put default in there, just like I said, the GUI tries to hold your hand and make things easier for you. So that's that. I added this in here as well into my normal ACL. I added the SSH that I demoed out for you guys earlier. So that's that for the ACL. The group policy. So let's say here, group policy, meetup test internal. Not exactly positive what this means at this point, but this is saying here that VPN access hours. This is referring to access hours test that we have up here. So this is, you can kind of think of this like the crypto map, where it kind of back in the VPN point-to-point tunnels, we had the concept of that crypto map, which kind of binds all the pieces together. So the crypto map binded the crypto ICAV1 or the crypto ISACAMP. It binded the tunnel group. It binded the transform set. So in this case, this group policy is binding that ACL that we had, WebVPN filter meetup test. It's binding here that ACL that we created earlier, which is, we're not even done with it yet. We're going to add more to it. And I think this means activated. I'm not positive that line means, but that's what these pieces mean. And this is just our banner, which we added earlier. So say group policy or crypto policy attributes. So that's kind of like if you guys think about BGP and in the routing and switching world, you got your BGP attributes. So I'm basically just tinkering with this. I'm just editing it. So I'm going to say add a banner or banner none because I'm removing whatever was there previously. And this is going to say here banner value. This is for testing only, what we had earlier. So I'm just going to hit send. Okay, so let me go back to what I was trying to show you guys earlier, meetup test. So now if you look here at the actual GUI, you can see the testing, the access list, the meetup test here. You can see that there. Portal, the bookmarks. I'll get into bookmarks in a second. But anytime you're doing something for the first time, definitely hit all the buttons and just look at it. I mean, I know sometimes it's tough when you first see it for the first time, and you kind of, you feel like, oh wow, like this is a lot, but it's not bad. I mean, the good thing one of the reasons I switched to Cisco over Windows was that Cisco actually talks English to you. Like, I know, I mean, WebACL, you might have to Google what that means, but simultaneous logins, I know that must mean up to 15 people can sign in at a time. Access hours, I might have to Google what that means, but okay, that must mean, the amount of, what is the time range that somebody can sign into this group policy, so a lot of this stuff is self-explanatory. I could actually have you guys, if you sign in, I can uncheck inherit. I can actually have you guys download the AnyConnect client, which I have on my ASA. I'll show you guys in a second about that. I can prompt you to choose. So user has 10 seconds to choose, or you get the default. I can force you. Like you can really customize what you want your client list users to do. So and actually let's do that. I actually like that idea. So let's give you 60 seconds. I'm not gonna make you download the client because I don't want to force you guys to download something. Single sign-on servers. We'll get into that probably in a part 3. So a lot of options here, a lot of nerd knobs that you can touch here. So let's hit OK with this. Hit apply. One thing with the ASDM though is just because you hit OK on the GUI, you actually got to click down here, apply, to actually send the commands to the command line. So here once again we're going to modify the attributes of this policy, and it looks like the only thing different we did was timeout after 60 seconds. So it looks like it'll kick us out of that SSL. Oh, by the way, guys, WebVPN, that was the old name of the clientless SSL. So if you guys look at the old Cisco documentation, like if I go to Google, let me go Google right now. I'll do Cisco Web VPN Let me do images. So as you can see, I mean, granted, it looks old and crappy looking, but this looks really similar to what you guys just logged into earlier today. It's the same thing, pretty much. It's just the old name of the SSL Clientless VPN, but they called it Web VPN in the past. So that's why you get that little command. Whenever you see this command in the command line, just think of Clientless SSL. So this is saying that AnyConnect ACS time after 60 seconds. So we'll send that. Okay, so done. So even though we have 3 pieces to this, they're 3 long pieces. I sat there like talking about that for like 10-15 minutes. So next up, we got the connection profile, also known as tunnel group. Whenever you hear these 2 guys, they're the same thing. Connection profile equals tunnel group. Tunnel group was the old name, just like Web VPN is. Whenever you think of Web VPN, think of clientless SSLs. It's the same thing, but just the newer version. So to do that, you want to make sure you're still in this clientless or Web VPN. Like if you guys go to the old ASDM, the old GUI, they'll call it Web VPN. But click on that connection profiles, and you actually have a couple here already predefined. I already have some predefined here, and actually, if you go to your network client, you see the same thing here. So it's the same spot, but just to keep it in uniform, let's look at the one that we have here. So when I had you guys sign in, I had you guys click on the pull down, and I had you guys go to the Meetup, right? So reason being is because I had you guys sign into this profile, or this connection profile, or tunnel group. So as always, blow everything up. So right here, I mean, I can't edit this because I already created this, but alias, this is when you had that drop down, you guys clicked on Meetup, that's because I typed here Meetup. If I typed in here, you know, hey, my name is Will, or whatever, like, you know, that will pop up in the little drop down. But I'll put 1 there just to show you guys what I mean. Authentication, this is something I want to do for part 3, is do authentication with a RADIUS server or a TACACS server. So this here, I mean, you have to choose one. You can do both. You can use a certificate. So this will also come probably in a part 3 when I get my CA working in Windows. You guys can actually sign into the ASA using a certificate that I can hand out. But for now, we'll do AAA. And if you guys remember from your CCNA studies, local means look at the local database of the ASA or of the router. So if you hit manage, I mean, there's really nothing to do here because by default I'm going to actually look at the ASA itself. But if you say both, I mean, let's do AAA. I'll do add, and this is where you can actually specify Kerberos, you do Windows, RADIUS or TACACS. So you guys specify here a RADIUS server or a TACACS server. So I can do like I don't know, I'll put something in here. And then you can put in here the actual, where is it riding off of. So I can do, let's say this is on my inside network. I mean, I don't want to go too deep into this because I don't have it fully set up yet. So I can't fully demo out for you guys, but it's a way that you could also put in here, not just the local database. If you guys remember back from CCNA, you can authenticate a username locally, or you can authenticate it using TACACS or RADIUS. Same deal here, no difference. But in this case, I'll keep it local. DNS, I'm not going to touch that because I don't have a DNS server here. And default group policy here. So this is where you're kind of like we said before, almost like the crypto map. You want to bind. You don't want to use a default group policy because it's going to inherit the wrong attributes that we just configured. You want to make sure that you click on your Meetup test or whatever group policy that you just made. So all that inheritance that we had earlier in step 1 here is going to bind it to this connection profile or to this tunnel group. So it's kind of like you're taking, and I'll hit this, I don't know. So it's like taking these settings of this group policy that we just configured, and you know what? We're gonna combine it with this connection profile, and you have to actually click on the right one, or else it'll smash the two. It'll smash the wrong policy to your connection profile, and then you'll start getting like weird results when your users try to sign in. So in our case, make sure we're gonna click on our Meetup test. I can click manage, and then this is the same thing before. I still can't delete my default group policy, but I can add more here if I want to, but I'm not going to. Meetup test. Let's go to our advanced. And you guys might get this if you guys have a 5505 at home. Says that there's no DNS server defined. That's because I don't have one, so I'm fine. I'll just hit yes to continue. Strip the realm from the username before passing it on to the AAA. I don't have a AAA server defined, so we don't have to worry about that. If you guys are using a local database, don't worry about RADIUS or TACACS, stuff like that. This is more for certificates, common names and OUs. We're not going to worry about this now. That'll be for part 3. Secondary authentication. So this is something that you can do here to kind of have as the name implies, have a second way to authenticate somebody. In our case, we're just going to have a username and password, as you guys saw earlier. We're not going to worry about that. Authorization. I don't have that set up. Our Cisco accountant. I haven't hired one yet, so not going to bother with that. NetBIOS, we're not going to worry. NetBIOS, we don't have one. NetBIOS server. But this is key down here. So all the way at the bottom, the Clientless SSL VPN, since in our case, this connection profile, this tunnel group is actually for a clientless connection, I actually want to go in here and, well, there's some aliases here. So you can see here, you can pick a couple aliases. This is the one, as I said earlier. Remember, I had regular Meetup that you guys had. I had you guys sign into regular Meetup, but I put the little one there just for like a different, to make it different. Let me check these two here and see if you... My guess is that you'll get 3 options. You'll get the AnyConnect option, you'll get Meetup, and you'll get Meetup 1. So we can test that out when we push this. But down here, this is something that I added. So you can hit add. It's just a regular URL name. So if you actually had a certificate, like a domain name, so let's say I was, Dell.com or something, instead of you putting the IP address, it will say Dell because I had a certificate that I got from GoDaddy or VeriSign or whoever. And you can say /Meetup. So I can say, HTTPS 108 because I don't have a certificate. I actually got to put my hard IP. And we'll do Meetup_test. So that's there. So I can uncheck this. Hit OK. Okay, so that's done. Oh, also up here too. Nice thing is here you can specify, and this actually I could test out here myself. I had this originally unchecked. So it says here enable interfaces for the clientless SSL VPN access. By default, it's going to be on the outside. So that's why when I was trying to pull my little web page here, it wasn't working. That's because I had this unchecked. So let me check it to see if maybe I can get it in from the inside instead of having to go to my work computer. Over here too, you can see allow users to select a connection profile for the login page. So I can force you to pick one, or I can give you an option by checking that guy off, which I want to give you guys the option. So we'll hit apply. And not too much here. We're gonna, once again, web VPN. That means our clientless SSL. We want to enable this on our inside interface because I checked this guy off. Once again, I'm going to modify the attributes of my group policy called Meetup test. And VPN tunnel protocol SSL clients. Not positive what that means, but I don't think we even touched it anyway, so I'm not sure why that's popping up. But we did, and once again, when I said here, a connection profile is actually a tunnel group. So whenever you see this in the command line tunnel group, that just means your connection profile. So here, We're going to modify some attributes for our new connection profile here. I have a new group policy here called Meetup Test. And I can go ahead with the attributes of Meetup1 enable because I edited that earlier. No group URL. So this is going to basically clear out this old one because I unchecked it. And I'm going to put in here some new URLs. So I have Meetup Test. And I disabled the old Meetup, the /Meetup. So I'll send that. We can test it out. So let me go to my browser. 108. What was my IP again? This is my IP. And you guys can even try on your end too. You can go back and browse. And anybody know why this isn't working? This URL that I just put in, even though I'm in the inside. Okay, so it works for Lee. When you just put in this IP by itself, you mean, right? Yeah, it's not working for me. Now, reason is, and what I think it might be, when I went to my connection profile, let me edit. Oh, I should have created a new one. I edited that one. That's why. We should have created a new connection profile. I just edited this. So notice I got my two options here, but we'll blow this up. We'll go to clientless. Yeah, I don't care. I don't have DNS. I haven't specified Meetup, the IP address /Meetup_test. So let me put that in. Test. Let's see, do I get it? Looks like nothing's happening. Yeah, let me put in my inside. Oh, and I'm getting something here. Because I'm in the inside network. My inside, let me go back to my device setup interfaces. My inside address is a 192.168.10.1. And once again, I'm using Firefox. This is saying this connection is untrusted. Yeah, I don't care. I want to get that certificate. I want to install it on my machine here. Permanently store this guy. Yep. Let's go. And I get it wrong URL. Let me go here. Let me blow this guy up. Let me reload that page. So I'm getting three options here. Let's try Meetup 1, just for the hell of it. We'll do Meetup user test 1, 2, 3. Can I get in? And it says welcome. So that's actually interesting. I got to figure out why that's not working from the in. I mean, it's technically not supposed to work from the inside. Let me move this out of the way. Normally, users wouldn't try to. I mean, you're already inside the network. Why would you want to try to VPN in? But I'm curious about that. I'll have to troubleshoot later on why that's the case. I'll make like a video of it later on when I figure that out. So I'm going to disable SSL client from the inside interface. So you can just see it's a no to negate that. And I'll just keep my alias to 1. Just Meetup. I'll change this back to Meetup users. Oh, we changed the profile. Hold on. Yeah, Meetup users. I'll keep that. Yes. Lee is saying most likely you haven't defined the inside as a viable VPN interface. Lee, how would you do that actually? When you say the inside as a VPN interface? I'm not exactly sure. Let me see if I can dig up anything. Is it just like an actual, what did I do here? Yeah, it's fine. Is it like a little checkbox or something? Nothing here. It's a banner. There will be management. I don't think it'll be licensing either. I mean, nothing really stands out right now, but if you find something later on, just hit something in the chat window there, Lee. If anything, I'll look at it later on tonight or tomorrow, and I'll make up a video when I find the fix. I mean, because there's tons of things that could possibly be. So if I do Cisco Clientless VPN, wrong URL. Could be on the wrong group. See, so you've noticed even the Cisco documentation, they call it Web VPN. I'll look at this later on, though. I don't want to. I don't want to blow the whole meetup on me just trying to troubleshoot this internally here, but yeah, at least from, I mean, the main point is from the outside, you guys can at least, you know, get to that. So that's.
Hey, William.
Yes.
Yeah, it's I think it's a security feature. You got to enable hairpinning in order for that to happen.
Oh, you enable hairpinning?
Yeah, it's
wasn't that
button? To do it on the command line. You do same security traffic permit intra interface.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's yeah, where is that? Right here.
Yeah.
This one I think it is. Same security levels.
Yeah, you got to allow traffic to and from same security level.
Yeah, you know what? That might be it. Yeah, this is enable traffic between two or more interfaces with the same security levels. That wasn't checked, so let me check that off and try it.
Yeah, you saw the command go by. That was it.
Yeah, it was like same security traffic permit enter. Yeah, you know what? That might be it because it's the same. Yeah, let's give it a try. Let's put that in there again. No, we're not in this one. We're in SSL. Blow this up. Oh, here we go. This guy. Okay, I'll apply that. I'll re-enable that. Okay, let's give it a shot. Meetup test. Or I'll do. Oh, there you go. Look at that. That was it. Very nice. Thanks, man. Yeah, I would have easily spent like 30 minutes trying to figure that out. Cool. Maybe I'll you know, I'll leave that checked off anyway because that will be helpful going forward anyway. Nice. All right. Hairpinning, yeah. All right, thanks, Lee. Yeah, that helped out. Okay, so we can actually, You know, I'll leave the inside on. That works out. What else do I have to put here? Default users. Blah, 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 blah. Do I need to change anything else? Test. You know, I'll get rid of test. I'll keep that Meetup like we had, and I'll get rid of Meetup 1. Just to clean the config a little bit. Okay. So finally, the last piece to this, which I already did for you guys, is actually make or edit a user and have them inherit the group policy and or the connection profile that we just made. So, you know, obviously you're actually having users connect to you guys to have this clientless SSL work. So to get this working, you want to click on, in this case, we're going to have a local user. So you want to go AAA local users again. And here's on the top, right at the top of the list. You can see here I got that Meetup user that I had before. So I can actually, I can hit add to make a new one. So we'll call this user, we'll call it Lee, because Lee saved the day here. Lee helped fix this up. So we'll call it Lee. We'll do test 1, 2, 3 with a capital T. And we got to define what permissions this leaking. This is more even also for somebody who's signing in using Telnet or SSH. So right now I got a user called Meetup user. He gets privilege level number 2. Now I had you guys have no command line access because as much as I love you guys, but I need to keep you out of my firewall. It is kind of my home firewall, but I can give you guys full access, or I can give you guys a certain privilege level. If you guys remember from CCNA, privilege level 15 is full permissions. I can give you guys a command line for prompt, no ASDM access, or I can give you no access. So I'll say no access for now because, like I said, it's my personal firewall here. But let's blow all the options up here. Let's see what we got. In our case, we're talking about. Oh, Lee does not like your name. It's too short, so we'll do Lee E. And he likes that. Okay, so go to clientless. So once again, we're seeing here again all these inherit checkboxes. So that's because somewhere around here we have to either point it to a group policy somewhere here, or we just let it inherit whatever the default group policy is. So down here, let's see how we can apply this guy to a existing. See customization sessions. Yeah, I've heard that saying before too. God, we trust all others must authenticate. Yep. Could have swore it was here. Where was it? Bookmark list, URL. Oh, you know what it is? We don't necessarily have to do that here. Let's hit OK. We'll apply that username. Now let's jump back to our connection profiles. We'll go to Edit. We're already allowing the local database to pull the user account. So whatever user account I create locally on that ASA, I already have that connection profile or that tunnel group already specifying to look at the local users on that ASA. So we actually don't have to do anything. We could actually leave it as is. But if we do want to play with it more, you can set up this particular user, and we'll blow up all the options. A particular bookmark list, which I'll get into in a second. URLs. So I need to say that, you know what, if I'm biased and I want Lee to have extra permissions that everybody else doesn't get, I can actually check this off here, some options here. So say I want to have certain bookmarks. Bookmarks is actually when you guys signed in that time. And I'll do that right now. Meetup. I'll do Meetup user. Fat finger something. Meetup user Test 1, 2, 3. What did I do to my user? He's still here. Oh, you know what? Maybe I have too many people logged in. Let me see the logs tell me anything. Let me try that again. So here, let me do a screenshot before this goes away. Come on, come on. Okay. So, where's my screenshot? So it looks like everything looked okay, but AAA was unable to complete. Reason is after hours restriction is in effect, so I cannot sign in with my user account here. So looks like everything looks okay. So AAA's user was successfully authenticated with the local database. Group policy was applied. Meetup users, but looks like my hour restriction is in effect for this username, Meetup user. So that's why. So let's go and change that. I think that was under my group policy. Or was that under test? No, Meetup users. Meetup users. Hours. So you know what? I'll say add. I'll say on always. Apply that. We'll get rid of test because we're done with him. On always. That's Meetup users group policy. Let's jump to the connection profile. Want to make sure that we're using that Meetup users. Okay, that's good. Yeah, it's fine. We have DNS. Let's apply that. And let me try that again. Should work this time. And now it's working. So it's another good thing. You know, definitely use the command line. Not the command line, but the logs. So the ASDM is very nice when it comes, or the GUIs comes very nice when it comes down to the logs. You click this little toggle floating thing, so you can blow this up, and then if you want to see an issue, like why is so and so issue not working or whatever, you can hit login, and if you catch it at the right time, which generally you'll have like a syslog server or something, but do Meetup user test 1, 2, 3. Continue. There we go. You can see it. It's kind of going down fast, but hopefully you guys saw that. AAA. So everything's good. So that's one way to try to fix that. So this is kind of was actually done already for us in the connection profile. So we can check that guy off. So connection profile, Meetup, that's already in here defined for us. Okay. Now a couple of things too that I want to mention with these little plugins here. So with the SSL client, you can go to one thing that, and this is something that's not in network access, but down here in the client list, you guys have a little button here called Portal. If you guys hit that and go to bookmarks, this little list here that I had for you guys. The Windows XP, click here to RDP, here's the username and password. This is a way that you can go ahead and customize the client list connection. So by default, there's one that we can't edit or we can't delete, so we can't do much with that. But I already had one already here created called Meetup bookmarks. And you can see here Windows XP, RDP to this IP. And if I edit that again, this should look really I mean, even if you've never done this before, you can just read this out and you probably know exactly what this stuff is. You can see here Windows XP, RDP, or you can do HTTP, you can do a CIF share, you can do a file transfer, you can do telnet. In my case, I want to do RDP to this address. I don't know why this. Oh, it looks like you can do it. You can have it auto sign in, but I don't want that to happen. So that's the IP address hiding behind this Windows XP login here. And I'm gonna have my little subtitle, and you can put a little picture too if you want to. I didn't put a picture though. But here I say click here to RDP, and that's literally the same thing that I have here. So that's actually how I got, and you can even see up here it says bookmarks. So you can actually put in here some, and you can see here there's plenty of options. You can put a website, you can put a CIF share, you can put SSH, you can put whatever you want in here to appear as like a table of contents almost, or as a bookmarks for when your users actually get to sign in. And that's pretty much it to it. I mean, you can add another one. You could add URL. Fortunately, I don't have another one, but I can call it, let's say, SSH test. We'll do SSH. I don't have an SSH box, but I'll just pretend there is one. And be like, this is a test. It won't work anyway. Hit OK. Now when you hit apply, so this is a little bit like complicated. I haven't gone that far with the ASA to figure out what this stuff means. So on the back end, this is actually adding a little URL list to the flash called ASDM import file blah 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 blah. I'm not sure if there's a way you could actually do this using the command line, but if there is, I'll make a video out of it and I'll post it on the YouTube channel. But I'll send that. Let's hit refresh. And notice now I get my little telnet SSH bookmarks. This is a test, it's not going to work anyway, but let's try it. Continue. And it's not going to work anyway because I don't really have anything, you know, there's no real server behind that anyway. But that's a way that you can, instead of, you know, having users actually go to the you know, click here, type in this IP address. I mean, we're all IT guys. We know that sometimes users aren't exactly smart when it comes to IT stuff. So the easier we can do it for them, the better. Let's see. I'm just looking at the chat here. Steve, yeah, a copy of the software. Email me after the webinar, and I'll just ask me what software you need, and I'll see if I can help you with that. Okay. But that actually leads me to plugins. Now, out of the box, when you actually open up your ASDM and you type add, or here add, you probably may not get all these options here, like RDP, SSH, and Telnet or VNC. That's because you actually have to add them to the ASA. So this is something that you have to download from Cisco.com. Generally what I do is, or you can even Google it too. You can type in, let's say, Cisco RDP plugin. You can kind of see it here, Cisco plugin, download, search, see what you find. The only thing is, just like anything else from the Cisco site, you need a CCO account to get access to that. So which plugins to use, somewhere around, I mean, this is a little bit complicated, but if you go to the Cisco site, and then you go to RDP plugin, it's one of the first hits that come up. RDP plugin. And then you need a little account to log in. But once you log in, you got the account, you log in, you can download it. Once you download it, to add that to your ASA, you have to go to, and I'll put this down here, hopefully you guys can see that. There we go. From the portal, you actually want to click on, let's see, Clientless VPN portal, which we're already in. client server plugins, which is this guy right here. And you can see the plugins that I have already on the ASA. If you want to import a new one, you go to import, put in here the one that you want to add. So in my case, you'll do RDP, RDP2, or I guess RDP2 for the newer version for Vista. Then you browse, and then you just browse to wherever you have it on your computer, and then you hit import to add it. Once you import it, then it works perfect. Once you get that, then you can go to bookmarks, go back to bookmarks, hit add, and then hit add again, yada yada yada, and then you get that RDP option here, or whatever plugin that you put in for the bookmark. Okay, and that's how you get that. Well, that doesn't work. Let me go back home. And that's how you get these little plugins, these little options here. If you actually do this out of the box without any plugins, you'll just get the first three bars here. These are the three I just added optionally on the Clientless VPN. Okay. And go back here. And that's pretty much it for the Clientless SSL VPN setup. That's the skinny of it. The setup. We did a little bit of some troubleshooting today, which is pretty good. What time we got? 9:30. Okay, so let me breeze by the AnyConnect VPN setup. That'll be the last portion that we do here for today, and I'll keep this here in the background because I want to show you this before we close for today, or else I'll forget. So we got the AnyConnect VPN client setup. The good thing with this, and I'll browse down here, how to create this AnyVPN setup. Like I mentioned earlier today, you can go through the wizard, the AnyConnect client wizard, and basically what we did before too with the SSL client list. You can do the wizard and walk it through it, but to be a good troubleshooter, it's good to know like the actual, manually do it yourself and just rely on the wizard once you once you're comfortable with what you're working with. But to do that, it's well, for first thing you want to, well, not depends, but I'll skip this right now. So the steps are pretty similar to the web VPN or the client's VPN setup. So we're gonna have to create a new group policy. You want to create a new connection profile, and then you want to add users for this connection profile, or I guess better, you could say that you can actually define these users in the connection profile. So you could put your AAA local. But so knowing that we know the three main steps, there's also three main steps here for our AnyConnect. So the only difference is instead of going to this clientless VPN, you're going to go to the first one, the one that says, and I'll pull this here a little bit bigger. You want to go to network access. That's going to be your AnyConnect. So first you want to go to your group policy. And once again, you got your Meetup users here, but in this case, I want to make one for my AnyConnect group policy. Very similar here to what we looked at before. And one thing that we can do to even get this working, and I wish I could show you guys, but I don't want to lose connection. But if you guys actually go to, let me sign out. When you went to this this login page, you had a choice for AnyConnect. So for that, if you guys want to do that, the choice or username that we're going to do is AnyConnect user, and password is the same, just test 123, capital T. And you guys can actually try it yourselves right now. You can go ahead, open up that browser window again. I'll open up mine for myself locally here. Go to AnyConnect user, and then test 123. Hopefully I don't lose any connection. I haven't actually tested this yet, but let's see what happens. It says login failed. Hold on a second, let me try this. AnyConnect user test 1 2 3. Login failed. Did anybody go to the site and sign in with that profile? Let me try that again. AnyConnect user test 1 2 3. Okay, I got something here. Stop. Crap. Ah. Let me do this again. It's good to have this snipping tool here. You can catch that, here we go. You can catch that thing because that thing goes way too fast. Alright, so what's happening here? Okay, AnyConnect user locally, that's fine. This is a group policy, that's fine. And unable to complete requests. Access restriction is in effect. So we got this access restriction in effect again. Let me go back to HDM. So I'm inheriting this. Let me go to my connection profile. Does anything stick out about time? No. Counting, blah. No, there's nothing about time here. Okay, so I'm inheriting that. So I don't want to inherit that. Let me go back to my policy, group policy, AnyConnect group policy, time. And instead of inheriting that, I'm going to say you're always on. That's what we defined earlier to fix the clientless SSL. I'm going to go ahead and apply that. Now let's try that again. AnyConnect user test 1 2 3. No good. Let me blow this up again. AnyConnect user test 1 2 3. Go. Wait. Group Meetup connection profile, username Meetup user. No, that's not somebody else. Oh wait, we got something up here. Access hours restriction is in effect. Why? I shouldn't be. Well, we know at least it has something to do with this AnyConnect profile here. Policy. Let's say end at, let's say, December. Oh. Start time, we'll say, was September. That should work. Okay, let's pop this log back again, hit play. AnyConnect user, test 1 2 3. Okay, what's it saying now? Access hours restriction is in effect. It's kind of weird because I'm saying that it should be allowed. Default group policy, AnyConnect user. Is anybody having luck getting in, or is it just me? Let me jump back onto my work machine. No, I'm going to let it go ahead and, because this says unrestricted. Let me go back here. Access hours, unrestricted. Apply. Let me do that again. AnyConnect user test 1, 2, 3. No. My time is off on my ASA. This says 11:9:13. That's kind of weird. Let me fix that. Clock. It's actually the 8th. Not even right time zone. We're Eastern. Here we go. It's Friday. It is 9. What's 9:30 military time? I always gotta do that conversion. That 24-hour clock. $21:30. 21:33. That should be fine. Apply. I'll get rid of that time server. Apparently that thing is wrong. Okay, let's do this again. AnyConnect user test 1, 2, 3. Okay, now it's working. Okay, so so next thing is, I mean, that was some, I didn't even plan that. So definitely make sure the time is right in your ASA. That's like one of like the first things you do when you first bring up an ASA up. Because this is also another thing too with certificates, guys. Sometimes your if your certificate has a certain date, but your PC or laptop or phone or whatever, the time is off, it's gonna, you know, long story short, just make sure the time is right. As you just saw here, even though the date was off by only a day, it was giving us issues signing in. So in this case, I'm going to cancel it because I don't want to. Don't cancel. Hopefully, I don't lose anybody here. I haven't tried this before. I don't know if this will even work. On my laptop, at least. So let me just. With that. So you guys on your end should get something like this, saying to go ahead and download the AnyConnect client. And that's actually this thing right here. So if you go to, I don't know if you guys have ever used this before. This is the Cisco AnyConnect client. So when it says here to download this, you'll actually download this app here. I mean, you guys don't have to download it, but I just want to show you guys that this is, normally if you guys want to have a full-blown AnyConnect client installation, users would go to the browser, sign in, and then depending on how you have your group policy set up, you could have them download the installation file, which if you guys don't want to, you don't have to. There's really nothing on my network to get, but they will sign in, and then they could actually, from their PC, be on the corporate network. I'm not going to do this, so I'm going to cancel out of this because I don't want to. I don't want to get into that right now. There's really nothing much to demo out from there. I just want to show you guys actually to get in from that point. So that's actually how that part looks like. One thing that I did want to mention though to you guys is which I don't know why I should put this at the bottom if anything. doesn't really belong at the top. Adding the Windows and Mac packages to the flash of the ASA. So maybe your ASA, if you were lucky and it came out of the box and you already had the packages on your ASA to begin with, you'll it might be on your flash already. But one thing that you have to do is to actually put the packages onto the ASA. So if you go to AnyConnect client software, you can see here, and the same deal as the plugins. You just have to browse for the flash, not browse the flash, upload it from your machine, or you can do a TFTP or whatever you want to do, and you have to actually add this here. I have the AnyConnect client for Windows, and I have one for the Mac. So if the end user is a Mac user or Windows user, when they go to that that little login that I had for you guys, and then it prompted you for the installation. That way, anybody off the fly can just go ahead and download it, and they can connect into the VPN. But if I don't have these packages on here, then it's not going to give you obviously it's not going to give you the option to download it, and then pretty much the end user would have to manually install it from somewhere. But this just makes it a little bit easier for somebody who doesn't have that already on their machine. They can just on the fly jump on any machine, sign in with their credentials, and then just install the client from there. Okay, so let's look at the pieces of that though. So as I said, they're very similar to the web client. You want to create that group policy, create the connection profile, and make sure that the users, in this case, they're linked to it, because in the connection profile we're specifying AAA local. But let's go through that real quick. So first up, group policies. Let's blow all the options up. In my case, I'm going to do AnyConnect client. So banner, I don't have a banner in here. I can actually put in one here. It says welcome to the AnyConnect VPN. They'll see that when somebody logs in. One thing that is different here is that we actually have to define the DHCP pool, which is different, and split tunneling. So these are the two. I mean, it's practically the same exact installation, or same exact configuration that we have with the clientless VPN. Only difference here is that we're going to specify a DHCP pool, because once again, when you do a VPN in, you're actually on the company network. So if I have here, what am I here? 192.168.10. Your whatever computer you're on right now is probably not that same IP address. Oh yeah, at least got a point actually. You don't want to say welcome, because legally, yeah, that's a good point. You can say authorized users only. If you're not allowed, don't sign in. Yeah, good point, Lee. Yeah, you don't want to. I mean, this is a lab, so I didn't care, but legally, you don't want to welcome random people into your VPN, because supposedly they can use that in court. I don't know, but yeah, you want to say authorized users only. Actually, I should put this in with the other clientless SSL VPN, but you guys get the idea. But so anyhow, for the DHCP pool here, you want to make sure that this is a new field that we have here called address pools. You can inherit one from the policy, from the default policy, if you want to, but in this case, I have one created already, so you could add it. Same thing as your regular routing and switching in the routing and switching world. Give it a name, star IP address, any IP address, and a subnet mask. This is no different than what we do with routing and switching. Let's say if you want to do like a DHCP server on a router or whatever back in CCNA. So in here I have one. I got 5 IP addresses allocated here. So if anybody actually wants to go ahead and install that, you'll get an IP address from this pool. I can do IPv6 pools if I want to. Let's see. My access hours, actually this didn't do anything, so I can, actually whatever, I'll do on always, let's say. Simultaneous logins, I can edit that around if I want to. A lot of these are is the same thing as we just did with our clientless SSL VPN. It's the same deal. You know, the only thing difference is here that we have to specify the IP pool range. Okay. There's also one more thing different that we have to do here. Servers, I don't have DNS, so I'm not going to play with that. I don't need to do that. DNS is, no, I don't want DNS. Split tunneling. So this is the other difference here. Split tunneling, if back in CCNA Security, they talk about the CCNA split tunneling being basically a way that if you allow only certain traffic to come to your network and anything else locally, like if somebody wants to go to ESPN.com, I mean, if you want to, you could, but you know, you may necessarily want somebody tunneling over the VPN, somebody checking, you know, what like the Minnesota Vikings were doing last night or something. So you what you can do is, I mean, by default, these are checked. But what you can do, you could say uncheck policy, inherit, tunnel the networks listed below. That's the way I like to do it because it just comes out easier. And I can actually down here in my network list define what networks I want you to tunnel. So I'll do edit. In my case, I already have my inside network of the 192.168.10 network. So this is basically saying here that anything, if the user comes onto the VPN and types in like my Windows XP machine of 192.168.10 dot whatever it was, 102 or something, that falls into this range. So that's good. Tunnel that over the VPN. But if the guy types in ESPN.com, that's not in my tunnel list. I'm not going to do split tunneling on that. Let that go out his local interface or his local provider. So this is a way that you can only allow certain traffic from passing over that VPN tunnel. So that's what you would do in this screen right here. This is a lot of stuff here we've seen before. Same deal that we had before on the Clientless VPN, but no. Okay, so that's that. You can do that. You can even reuse the older policy that you used for the Clientless SSL, but that's kind of annoying because then it is just easier to have different policies for different uses. That's that. Next up is the connection profile. Very similar interface that we had before with the clientless SSL. As a matter of fact, I think this is exactly the same exact thing. You can put your alias, so I can put AnyConnect. Once again, I'm specifying here, look at my local database for my users. And you can change it up if you want to, like I said before. You can add on here RADIUS or TACACS if you want. Probably do that for part 3. And then you want to come down here and make sure that you don't leave the default group policy. You want to bind it with your AnyConnect group policy or whatever policy that you previously just made. I don't care about DNS. Authentication, secondary authentication, the Cisco accountant. All this stuff is pretty much the same. What I can even do here actually for my group URLs, I can put in here that I can create a URL just for AnyConnect users. So if you want to really dumb it down for your users, you can just type in here like whatever my IP address was, I forget what it was, slash VPN users or something. So this way, when somebody comes in, you tell the executive that has known nothing about computers, you tell them, you know what, just email this link to the guy, tell him to click on it, and then he's in the VPN. Just dumb it down for the users. In my case, I don't have it though. I have you guys hitting the main site. And then once again, like I said, we're doing local here, local users. So the users here are locally that they are defined. That's where you would have the users authenticating with. And actually, we did this part too. That's it. So I mean, it's really straightforward to create that AnyConnect VPN. You can do the wizard too, but as I just showed you guys, like in 20 minutes, you can get an AnyConnect VPN set up. It's not bad. Okay. One more thing I wanted to show you guys before I close out here for tonight. The lab topology that I did in part 1. I actually have a RADIUS server and a TACACS, the RADIUS router and a TACACS router. What I did was in my VMware. So I have my XP machine here. I got my ACS server, and then I got my RADIUS server here that's on my Windows 2008 box. What I did, and I just want to show you guys because, I mean, I can go more with this, but it'll take too much time. Go to the network adapters and just change the NIC to be a host only. This means that what's going to happen. So it's like I create like a virtual switch or something, and this is going to be my host. What do they call it? Host only. And then I got my 2, 3, 4. I got my Win XP box. I got my ACS box. I got my RADIUS / Win 2008. And what else did I have? I think that was it. Oh no, my GNS3. So I got all of these nodes connected to the same switch, and I set up on this 192.168.81.024. And now this way, this is a way that you guys can actually make up a lab at home. That's why when I have GNS3 here, so let's say RADIUS, I'm going to sign in here. Come on. Okay, RADIUS is taking too long. Let's go to TACACS. Let's see how he's doing. Okay, just took him forever to do it. So when you guys practice, and I'll make this a little bigger. With AAA, there's a lot of different combinations that you guys can do. What happened? Here we go. There's a lot of different combinations that you guys can do with the authentication. So a good thing about this is that if you guys have everything on the same subnet here, so you can put, this is all VM, by the way. This is nothing here is physical, including GNS3. So I can actually go ahead and try ping. I think I had it as 99. One of these guys. Host ID. Let's see, what's this IP? All right, let's do that. 101. There we go. So you can actually ping from the GNS3 router. Where's my pings? So GNS3 right now is pinging that Windows XP box through the switch. So Yali's saying you can chain your authentication, so TACACS and local RADIUS on the same line. Yeah, so there's way that you can actually play with that. I just didn't have the time to mess around with different combinations, but it looks like you can do everything on a single line. Specify both RADIUS and TACACS on the same line. But this is a good way because you can basically play around with RADIUS, TACACS, and the good thing with the Windows XP box is that I can still access my Cisco ACS server without having to go into like my NIC connections that I showed you guys in part 1. Just make sure everything's in a host only, so everybody's on the same switch or virtual switch. And then in GNS3 for this cloud, just tie this cloud into I believe is a VM1. That was VM1 that I did it on. You put that in there, so this way GNS3 talks directly. You plug them directly into this vSwitch. you can call it, for the VMware. And then there you go. You can play with AAA all day with that. So yeah, so that and that was that slide there. That's pretty much it, guys. Like, once again, there's my contact information, guys. If you guys have some time, you can stop by tomorrow for the CCNP study group tomorrow night, and that's pretty much it from my end, guys. You got any comments? Any